Page 92, 93. Honorable Kasum.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Page 93, under matter of public urgent importance. I recall yesterday that when Mr. Speaker was giving the submissions as to who to direct the call on, you did mention yesterday that Honorable Shokunle should also include that the local government council and the CDC and the CDA should be involved as well, and I don't see it under the submission here, and other agencies that has to do with the coronavirus information.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Page 94. I have examined the fruits and proceedings of Monday, 2nd March 2020, and approval is here granted. Any message from the governor?
Right, Honorable Speaker, distinguished honorable members, there is no message from Mr.
Any
Governor.
other announcement?
Mr. Speaker, sir, honorable members, we received a letter from the Office of the Attorney General and Commissioner for Justice addressed to the Clerk of the House titled Proposal for Stamp Duty, New Design and Electronic Tracking Regulations 2019. With your kind permission, sir, I wish to read a summary of the letter as follows. The letter notes that the state government, while reviewing the volume of online, offline transactions within the state and its resulting financial economic implications, has recognized the need to dispense with the customary mode of denoting stamp duty, which has now become inefficient in the face of present-day economic realities, and the need to adopt an electronic mode of denoting stamp duty in line with global best practices. Therefore, in line with the provision of Section 7, subsection 2 of the Stamp Duty Act, Cap S8, Laws of Federation of Nigeria 2004, and the Regulation Approval Law 2015, 60 copies of the proposed Stamp Duty Regulations 2019 are forwarded for the consideration and onward legislative process by the House of Assembly. Please accept my best regards. Thank you. Signed, Mr. Amoyoshore Onigbanjo, SAN, Attorney General and Commissioner for Justice. Sir, we also received another correspondence addressed to the Clerk of the House titled Proposal for Land Use Charge Regulations 2020. It reads, sir, the above subject matter refers, please. The Lagos State Executive Council at its meeting of 6 January 2020 considered an ongoing review of the Land Use Charge Law 2018 and resolved to present the attached Land Use Charge Regulations to the State House of Assembly for approval in accordance with the provisions of the Regulation Approval Law, Cap R for Laws of Lagos State 2015. The regulations are proposed to set the value of annual charge rates to be applied to eligible properties in Lagos State and other related matters. In line with the resolution of the State Executive Council, please find enclosed 60 copies of the following regulations for the implementation of the Land Use Charge Law, namely annual charge rates, annual relief rates, exemptions, pensioners in bracket, exemption religious bodies in bracket, exemption non-profit making organization and educational institutions. Signed, Mr. Amoyoshore Jubri Onigbanjo, SAN, Attorney General and Commissioner for Justice. We also have another correspondence from the Office of the Attorney General and Commissioner for Justice addressed to the Clerk of the House, Lagos State House of Assembly, and it is titled, A Bill for a Law to Establish the Lagos State Lotteries and Gaming Authority to consolidate and harmonize all gaming activities and related laws in Lagos State 2020. Sir, it reads, the above refers further to the approval of the State Executive Council at a meeting held on Monday, 10th February 2020. Mr. Governor has directed that the bill for a law to establish the Lagos State Lotteries and Gaming Authority to consolidate and harmonize all gaming activities and related laws in Lagos State 2020, presented on the floor, be forwarded to the House of Assembly for consideration and enactment into law. Please find attached 60 copies of the law for onward legislative process. Signed, M.J. Onigbanjo, San, Attorney General and Commissioner for Justice. And lastly, sir, we have another correspondence from the Office of the Attorney General and Commissioner for Justice, addressed to the Clerk of the House, Lagos State House of Assembly, and it is titled, A Bill for a Law to Regulate the Ownership, Licensing, Care and Sale of Pets, and to prohibit or restrict persons from having custody of certain animals dangerous to the public, and where permitted to license, control, and regulate the custody of such animals and for other connected purposes, 2020. It reads, the above refers further to the approval of the State Executive Council at a meeting held on Monday, 10th February 2020. Mr. Governor has directed that the bill for a law to regulate the ownership, licensing, care, and sales of pets, and to prohibit or restrict persons from having custody of certain animals dangerous to the public, and where permitted to license, control, and regulate the custody of such animals and for other connected purposes, 2020, presented on the floor, be forwarded to the House of Assembly for consideration and enactment into law. Please find attached 60 copies of the bill for onward legislative process. Signed, M.J. Onigbanjo, SCN, Attorney General and Commissioner for Justice. Thank you, sir.
Petitions.
None, Mr. Speaker, sir.
Matter of urgent public importance. Honorable Saka.
Good afternoon, Mr. Speaker. My dear colleagues. Mr. Speaker, sir, you recollect the last year precisely the Greater Lagos Fiestas. Before now, we have a countdown Fiestas. We also have one Lagos Fiestas. That the preparations toward that Fiestas is solid. That other people from other different countries and the states like to come and celebrate with us in Lagos State because of the Fiestas. But if you look at the last Fiestas, it's eyesore. Despite the committee members called the chairman, called the commissioner then, we advised her, and we first of all asked her to give us the itineraries, how it is going to go about it. He said she will give it to us with the commissioner, with the PS and others, members of the ministries. But at the end of the day, reverse is the case. We ask her, and we also go along with the timetable given. That is, they said they want to do it in 2 days. We call him that is not done in anywhere. It's 7 days from the countdown to one Lagos Fiestas and the current one. Despite that they give him amount they budgeted for, we cannot mention it. With that, if you go to all the Fiesta points, believe me honestly, this I saw, and all the partakers, none of them is being taken care of. Even the leaders, the others, and the community people that they witness it and enjoy with it. And these particular Fiestas calm down all the criminal activity during the December period, and believe me honestly, only even to finance them. If you go there, you pity what is happening. And believe me honestly, the honorable members that witness it can testify to what I'm saying. And even if you look at the the social medias. Even before they started this, they have been saying it's 2 days, 2 days. We called her. He said that he want to do this, he want to bring a lot of things into it, that they will go, the carnival will first of all start from one town to another, and at the end of the day, he's going to use 2 days. I said, it's not done. 7 days, because people will come from different states, from different countries, and if you can compare it with Calabar Carnival, then it's what we have done last year, it's not to rent it about. And
Thank you.
so what I'm saying in essence is that despite that, precisely 16 January, the state governors reshuffled the cabinet, and I think it's no more in the system. But then, with the amount we have spent, they need to call her to come and account for that expenditure and fund the giving to her.
Thank you. Honorable Low.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Good afternoon, my colleagues. I want to support Honorable Shulaja in that regard. The fiesta is not just a one-man show. It's supposed to be all-inclusive, and because the essence of having it is to promote culture and tourism. And I know, proud to the last we had, it had been very glamorous, and a lot of people came into this country with a view to participating in that particular fiesta. But the last one was a disaster, because they were not done simultaneously in all the centers, and where they had it, it was not a real thing. Even it took them a while for the phone, for the speakers to come up, and I believe one damage will go a long way to destroy our intention as regards promoting our culture and tourism. Mr. Speaker, I don't think it will be out of the place. Even if the so-called, the then commissioner had been sacked, I think it is still very, very appropriate for her to be accountable for the money she purported to have spent on that. Then the current commissioner, I don't think it will be out of place for the committee of the House to call her and tell her why that greater Lagos Fiesta is very important to us, so that we can take it from there. But I think it is very, very important. We look back, we assess what transpired with a view to charting a new course as regards that particular incident. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable Miranda.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Well, I would like to support Honorable Shulaja on this particular matter because, one, ever since the end of the year fiesta started, it has always been fun, and all the way down. Because starting from the countdown period, we know it's usually a 7-day program cut across all the 5 divisions. And I think this is supposed to be a program that takes the youth off the streets, even the criminals off the streets during this festive period. And it is also supposed to encourage the upcoming artists, to encourage them, let the world know them. But unfortunately, this year's event was actually a disaster. No much activity, and everything was in disarray, if I may put it that way. It is supposed to boost the local vendors during that period, but the local vendors themselves, they were also discouraged and disappointed because all their goods that was brought to the venue for them to make little change were all taken back home because there was no publicity, professionals were not involved, and what have you. So, sir, my submission is to let the Ministry of Tourism, the sitting commissioner, to know that next one, it should be all-inclusive by getting the professionals involved, getting everybody, all the necessary bodies involved in the planning. It is not supposed to be a one-man show. Thank you, sir.
Honorable Satoji.
The Right Honourable Speaker, my colleagues, this is a very serious matter. The bedrock of my own constituency is tourism. what we have most, we have tourism sites everywhere. And so this festa is one that our people enjoy. People come from all parts of Badagry Division, all from Ojo, everywhere to come and enjoy. The one we had in 2018 was wonderful. But this one was a shadow of itself. And it's not good enough for the image of the state. People were complaining, grumbling. In fact, the number of people actually came to my own area to come and tell me that what was going on. That is why I think the House, it's very apt for us to look into this so that we can, learn from it. And for the person who was saddled with that responsibility to come and explain what happened, especially when we heard of the humongous amount that was involved. At the end of the day, we didn't have anything. It was really a mess. And we are all promoting tourism in Lagos State. We want the world to come and enjoy Lagos. So we need to have that, antecedents that will evolve over the period of time. People will now start coming. I know that every year they are coming to Lagos. But if we continue in this format, nothing it's not good for us. So we need to look into it. That the person who was responsible should account for it. And the present commissioner too should come and explain, because government is a continuum. We need to actually find out what happened during that period. That's my conclusion, sir.
Honorable Layode.
Well, thank you, Mr. Speaker. Actually, Honorable Setonji, been on my own direction that we should be able to call the new commissioner to come and explain what transpired in the last Lagos State Fiesta. But by the way, I just want to thank my honorable member, Honorable Sholaja, the chairman of the committee on tourism and infrastructure, because I was at the last meeting that we had with the former commissioner, that we called on her. Even I asked her the question that, can you brief us what you are intending to do? What do we have? What are you going to give us for coming Fiesta? The way she was talking, and later I let her realize that we have approved so money for you for this 2019, that was 2019, that you came in as a commissioner. There is a provision for the money that you are going to spend on this, and you shouldn't go into that direction. You're going to amount to the environment and other things. We tried to explain to her, but she just decided to do what she had in her mind that she wants to do. But thank God today, she has no more there as a commissioner. Where I'm going now, precisely, Mr. Speaker and my own colleagues, fine, like the chairman have raised it as part of our oversight function as honorable member, not for this commissioner alone. Other people that you are sitting on the government money, you can't just come that you think what you're having from your own house, your own idea that you want to do, and at the end of the day, you now think that if you are going, nobody can question you. Sir, Mr. Speaker, I think in that direction, she needs to be called on, and it will serve for detriment for the other people that are also going to be in government position, that anything, don't think you are there alone, that you are coming to just do your own and go as you want. So I'm also supporting the chairman of the committee that we should invite the woman, despite the new commissioner, she is going to explain further to us, and what is she also having for us in this 2020 also. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable Tunde Bravo.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, please permit me to specially congratulate Honorable Sakasholaja, the mover of this motion, for his birthday today. Mr. Speaker, having said that, a public officer is a public trust, and to whom much is given, much is expected. We have a very bad perception because our party is controlling all the seats in the assembly and also controlling the state government. So the perception out there is that whatever we do is run like friends and family, whereas I'm aware that we do very great scrutiny in the course of our jobs. Mr. Speaker, the Constitution enjoins us and even mandates us to hold everybody accountable to all funds that accrue to them from the coffers of the government. The commissioner, or SY commissioner for Arts and Culture, Lagos State, definitely has a question to answer with respect of the humongous fund that passed through her, supposedly for the Lagos Fiesta, which what we got in result was not commensurate with what was invested. Mr. Speaker, in the circumstances, the action speaks of smacks of chicanery, larceny, graft, misappropriation of public funds, and is therefore unacceptable. Tourism is the future of Lagos State. In other African countries, they make tourism their cash cow. We see the case of Kenya, South Africa, other African states, and Lagos should be looking towards that direction. This action definitely is retrogressive and will not be condemned. I therefore support the previous speakers that the former LSHA commissioner be brought to account for all the sums that transacted through her. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable Gubiade.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Let me also join to wish Honorable Saka happy birthday. Mr. Speaker, colleagues, we are representing our people in the 40 constituencies of the state. And during, before, and after the last Greater Lagos Fiesta, there were complaints, there were protests, and it is good that Honorable Saka has raised the issue here today. My colleagues have spoken so well. The intention of the Greater Lagos Fiesta, we started as one Lagos Fiesta, is to raise the bar for tourism in Lagos State. And we were doing very well progressively year in, year out, until last year when there was a kind of turning point in the whole arrangement. In the first instance, awareness preceding the fiesta was so low. Publicity was bad. People started to ask questions, will there be carnival this year? Will there be Lagos Fiesta this year? Most of us who are in government could not ascertain it will hold. And when the day came, we realized that it was to be done in some few parts of the state, unlike what has been established. But when eventually it took place, I attended the one in Ikorodu, and I felt sorry for the organizer. Why? Because the tempo of the fiesta is usually from the evening and lasts till daybreak, when all those boys that would have caused trouble in the vicinity would have been motivated to participate in the fiesta, and of course it's usually reduced, crime during that time. But Mr. Speaker, what I discovered was that great names in the musical, in the entertainment world that used to grace the occasion and sustain the tempo and the interest of the people were conspicuously absent. And when I investigated, it was like they boycotted the last fiesta because of certain things that the organizer did. Mr. Speaker, others have spoken. The fact that somebody is still in government or out of government does not preclude that person from being investigated for what that person has done in government. For that reason, Mr. Speaker, I think it's only important that we invite the former Commissioner for Tourism, since it will be difficult to shave a man's head in his absence, in his or her absence. And it will not be possible to do a total review and investigation without calling on that person that superintended that particular fiesta. So, Mr. Speaker, I want to concur that it is important that she be invited together with other members of the ministry to come and give account of what happened, so that will guide us towards the next fiesta, and we can pick the standard up again and sustain the interests of the state in tourism. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I want to commend the mover of this motion, Honorable Saka Shulaja. The wise will say that whatever that is worth doing at all should be worth doing well. It's very obvious that the last year fiesta is just a mirage of itself. And there are lots that we lost in the process. One, the essence of the fiesta is to showcase our endowment, our cultural heritage, the talent, and the future, how we are going to chart the new course for Lagos in terms of the talent hunting. But we discovered that at the last year fiesta, all these were missed. More importantly, this fiesta is a source of revenue to the Lagos State, to the corporate bodies, and to individuals. As a result of this shoddy arrangement, all these revenues were not gotten. And I want to say that, one, according to the submission of the Chairman Committee on Tourism, that the commissioner, the past commissioner and the present commissioner, and even the permanent secretary of that ministry should be invited to come and explain how the taxpayers are being spent and why do we have such a shoddy arrangement for the fiesta. Thank you very much.
Honorable Shaw.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Good evening, colleagues. I must commend Honorable Sholaja for bringing this up here. Happy birthday to him, by the way, because it shows that his committee has been on top of this and they are doing what is expected of them. He spoke passionately, meaning that he saw it going bad and they tried to warn, but nobody heeded their concern. So kudos to you for having spotted this, but we should also find out how we could stop this happening in future. When we see that something that the state has worked at for several years, I know it's under Governor Fashola then that we started this Lagos Fiesta, and it took time to ramp it up to this level. It's supposed to put Lagos on the global map, competing with the likes of Paris and the rest of them. So to have a situation where we have now been pulled back again, it would take some time to ramp it back up. As a matter of fact, there's apathy within the entertainment environment, even across visitors that come to Nigeria, people that have businesses in that area. They don't know what is going to happen this December. So what Honorable Sholaja has brought is very apt. We need to find out what happened for knowledge's sake so that it will not repeat itself. And as a matter of fact, if possible, something needs to be done between now and December so that people can have that confidence in Lagos that we can do it again. So I support what Honorable Sholaja said. The past Commissioner for Tourism, Arts and Culture should be invited. And a new Commissioner for Tourism, Arts and Culture should also be invited to tell us how they're going to mitigate against this happening in the future. Thank you.
Honorable Lumo.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Let me join other colleagues to congratulate Honorable Sholaja for bringing this motion to the floor of the House and also congratulate him for his birthday today. I want us to look at the economic value statistically to Lagos, what this attitude of the last commissioner has done to us. I want to state that in 2017 alone, to our GDP in Lagos, tourism contributed about 800 billion. And between the period preceding the fiesta, that is a week or two and after, Lagosian makes about 50 billion naira statistically. So you can look at the quantum of money that we have lost just in last year alone. So it's not something that we can just wish away. We have to call the permanent secretary in that same ministry and the commissioner at the time when this event took place last year, and the current one, so that they can come and give us the account of what they did, and they also give us their plan for the future, not just for this year alone. What will be their future plan for next year, so that we can see how they graduate, and we can pick out the economic benefit for the state. Thank you.
Honorable Council.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I thought it necessary to add my voice to this very disappointing situation that Lagos State found itself during the last Greater Lagos Fiesta edition. In a state where promoting culture and tourism is of pertinent importance, we found that it was substandard. Just like other members had pointed out earlier, without overflooding the issue, I thought at some point before last year we were on the way to achieving the heights of the likes of Notting Hill Carnival in the UK just before this happened. So I would like to say, however, that at this point, the report by the new commissioner of the last fiesta ought to have reached the table of the chairman on tourism at this point. And if that has not been done, it needs to look towards that direction because, as we all know, government is a continuum. She has inherited all assets and liabilities, and she is supposed to have given a report of that failed event. Of course, we understand that you made efforts and are virtuous towards the past commissioner, and of course, I also support the fact that the commissioner, the former commissioner, should be called to account. But we must start at the point where the baton has changed, which is the present commissioner of tourism. Thank you.
Honorable Saka, are you ready? Let's have your prayer.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. My prayer is to call on the former commissioner for tourism, art and culture, the present SA, PS, and the directors of the Ministry of Tourism and Art and Culture to come and account for the fund released to them for the fiestas. And also to call on the current commissioners to give us the itinerary for 2020 in order for us to redeem what we have done in 2019. And it also serves as a deterrent to others MDA when they release the fund.
Deterrent will be part of your prayers.
Yes, part of the prayer, sir. So that the subsequent
We
one.
take the first two. I think with the first two. No.
Thank you, sir.
So wait a second. I take that as your prayers and the motion. Honorable Nureni.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I rise to second the motion as moved.
All in favor say aye. Those against no, the ayes have it. Mr. Clerk, kindly communicate the resolve to appropriate quarters. Majority Leader. Personal explanations, reports. Business of the day, Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, what we have slated for today in particular is in respect of House of Assembly Bill number 5, Lagos State Neighborhood Safety Corps Agency Amendment Bill 2020. Mr. Speaker, I wish to move that, I hereby move that Lagos State Neighborhood Safety Corps Agency Amendment Bill 2020 be read for the third time. I so move.
Honorable Okolan.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I rise to second the motion as moved.
All in favor say ayes. Those against no. The ayes have it. Mr. Clerk.
Right, Honorable Speaker, distinguished honorable members, with your kind permission, I will read for the third time a bill for a law to amend the Lagos State Neighborhood Safety Corps Agency Law 2019 and for other connected purposes. Thank you, sir.
A bill for a law to amend the Lagos State Neighborhood Safety Corps Agency Law 2019. The Lagos State House of Assembly enacts as follows. Section 1. Two. Section 3, amendment to Section 3. Four. Five.
Section 4, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable Abiru.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Section 4C, the Executive Secretary of the Security Trust Fund.
I think that has been changed to General Manager too.
No, sir. This is for the Security Trust Fund.
Security Trust Fund. It's not my Secretary Secretary. Do we still have a Secretary Secretary? Honorable Ibrahim,
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. It's now General Manager, sir.
It's what?
It's General Manager, sir. You are right.
So
sir.
that should be General Manager.
General Manager.
Mr. Speaker, sir.
But I think if there's a comma behind it,
The law for executive, Lagos State Security Trust Fund. In this, you are talking about this bill.
Yes, Mr. Speaker.
Yeah.
It is talking about the membership of the board.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
So the bill is recommending that the Executive Secretary of Security Trust Fund.
You are talking about the of.
Yes, sir.
Now I'm supporting you that the name has been changed from Executive Secretary now to GM.
Okay, sir.
I think that was what we did.
Okay, sir. So the Executive Secretary, the GM of the Security Trust Fund. Thank you very much.
The
sir.
legal officers said we are here to carry out the amendments on Security Trust Fund. They're still working on it. So off is missing. 5. Six. Yeah, Honorable Okola.
Mr. Speaker, I observe on page 5F that as part of the state listed, Osun State is conspicuously absent.
Where is that? Where is that? Six. Seven. 8. Honorable Agumi.
Yes, sir, Mr. Speaker, Section 8. I think the word special used in 18.1 is misplaced. What we are trying to create is a special unit and not a special neighborhood corps. So I wish to say that it should read, there is established neighborhood corps special unit patrol and not established special neighborhood corps patrol unit. So that special should be between corps and patrol and not beginning the name itself.
Okay. Eight three.
Mr. Speaker.
Honorable Abiru.
Thank you very much, sir. I also think A is missing in that.
Where?
That 18.1, there is established a neighborhood special corps patrol unit. A is missing there.
A special neighborhood. No, it has changed position of the special.
Yes, sir. The A stands missing, sir. There is established A.
With what? After they establish or before they establish?
After they established A.
Neighborhood.
A special or a neighborhood special, whichever way, but A is missing there. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Mr. Speaker.
Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, I think what Honorable Abiru is trying to introduce does not apply. I think that is the normal drafting technique. we don't need to put A. There is established neighborhood or special patrol unit. So A is not necessary that A should be there.
If it is couched in legal term, no, then we leave it to the legal department to handle and do it. But if you have to go by Honorable Abiru, I think we'll consider the position of Honorable Abiru. There should be here. Road safety patrol units. Now you've removed the special. Where do we position the special? Honorable Agunbiade before you. There is established neighborhood.
The special is qualifying the patrol unit. So it should be neighborhood called special patrol unit. That's what we are creating.
Okay.
We are not creating special neighborhood.
And if we agree on that, why do you now put it before the neighborhood?
No, sir, that is how it is. So I'm saying that we should remove the special before neighborhood and relocate it to between core and patrol. What Honorable Abiru is saying is that even
Yes,
at
yes.
that, there should be A between established and neighborhood. And I said there is no need for A. It should be there is established neighborhood core special patrol unit, not there is established a neighborhood core patrol unit. There are two issues.
Okay. We go with the position of the majority leader. We are still on needs. Yeah, Honorable Okolawo.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. So I meant to refer to section 8.2F on page 5.
8 what?
8.2F.
F or L?
F, on page 5. So Osun State should be part of the state to be enlisted. It's missing there, sir.
Yeah, Osun is missing. See on 8, page 6.
Yes, sir.
Honorable Akonde.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Section 383, line 4, issuance of carrying of firearms arms. So,
Section what?
Section 8.3, page 5, on the 4th line. Carrying of firearms arms. Is it that firearms and ammunition or firearms and the second arms should be removed?
Should go. Thank you. 9.
Sorry, Mr. Speaker. Still 8.
8.
8, 3, page 6. Page 6. 8.3. The Amotekun Corps commander shall be removed from office by the governor if dissatisfied. If that D, I think if he is, page 6, sir, page 6, number 3.
Yeah, HE.
If dissatisfied. That,
If he is.
yes, if he is satisfied. Thank you.
Honorable Doyin.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir. I thought we agreed that it should be 5 years, not 4 years. I mean, page 6, number 2. Page 6,
If
number
the
2.
Honorable Tunde Ibrahim, but I think if the our neighborhood safety corps commander is 4 or 5 years. Both of them cannot go at the same period. Honorable Brahma, can you explain that further?
Mr. Speaker, we took this on a consensus across the region that it should be 4 years in the first instance, and they are eligible for reappointment. So that's that. But talking about the he, sir, Mr. Speaker, with due respect, I want us to be gender sensitive here. When Mrs. Tejoso was there, I'm sure she would have kicked against that he being there.
Okay.
So maybe we should say if the governor is satisfied or if satisfied. Just say if satisfied. Just put if satisfied. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
9. 10. 11. 12. 13. That a bill for a law to amend Lagos State Neighborhood Safety Corps Agency Law 2019 be passed into law. All in favor say aye. Those against nay, the ayes have it. Mr. Clark, kindly send a clean copy to Mr. Governor, Mr. Babajide Sanwo-Olu for his accent. Thank you. Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, distinguished colleagues, I have the approval of the Right Honorable Speaker to move that this House adjourns till Monday, the 9th day of March at 12 noon. I so move.
Honorable Macaulay.
I rise to second the motion as moved by the Majority Leader.
All in favor say aye. Those against nay, the ayes have it. This House stands adjourned till Monday, 9th March 9th March 2020 at 2 noon prompt. I rise.